Good morning and welcome back to the 12th episode of Tiny Table Talk. I'm John.
I'm Dayang.
And here at Tiny Table Talk, we go through all things related to Aeons of Adventure, our upcoming TTRPG, Kickstarter, pre-launch page links, and everything is in the description below. Right. So, today, what are we going through today?
We'll be going through another mastery. This time will be the Swiftedge, so like daggers and stuff like that.
Alright, we've been going through different masteries over the past few weeks, right? We've been going through martial masteries, we're going through magical masteries, specialist masteries, and so we've kind of been going in a cycle where we're going through martial, magic, specialist, martial, magic, specialist, and now we're back on to martial again. And so today's martial mastery is Swiftedge. And right, what exactly is Swiftedge? You said that we use daggers, like small little edged weapons we have seen in our expo, social media posts and everything. It's mainly focused around smaller weapons, right? So short blades, I mean, they're kind of both swords and daggers, right? Yo, good morning, and oh yeah, watching at work, I see. All right, all right, it's the evening then, all right. Should be like 8 p.m., 7 p.m.
plus?
Somewhere there, right? All right, so Swiftedge, it's our dagger mastery. It's our system's very own rogue, assassin, thief kind of archetype, right? Which also, well, we'll get into that later. So today we'll be trying something slightly different. We'll be jumping back and forth between this scene where we are a little bit smaller and this scene where we'll be focusing on specific details, and we'll swap back and forth as and when we are swapping between major points, right? So this is kind of like the focused scene, and the other one will kind of be like the overall one for it's for ease of like cropping videos and stuff like that, right? And without further ado, so what exactly is the Swiftedge Mastery?
So, I mean, you have explained most of it actually. So, Swiftedge is more about like daggers and stuff like that. So, like, it's quite specifically at daggers. So, you have katas and like, it's not really fists in that sense. It's, so the main fantasy for this will be like, rogue, Gloomstalker, I guess also. That's one of them.
In Dungeons and
In
Dragons,
Dungeons
yeah.
and Dragons. So Gloomstalkers, like it's more like stealthy characters or like movement specific characters. And like Yeah, basically.
If we had to relate it to like a kind of JRPG sort of class, besides the typical assassin and whatnot,
Ninja.
thief and ninjas,
Hmm.
right? So
But
minus the ninjutsu part.
yeah,
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 yeah.
I will say that.
Uh, okay, not exactly, not exactly.
Mm.
So it's less how would I describe it? Minus like the fireballs and the water magic and
Mm.
stuff, and more like the physical parts of ninjutsu.
Mm.
So like quick movement, light steps, maybe like jumping across places, stuff like that.
Mm.
Right. So the more physical aspects of it, because end of the day, it is a martial mastery after all, right? So you're here to do physical attacks. Okay. So let's jump right into it here. I'll turn this off. Let's start with, as always, we're going through a description and then all of the skills that are available, and briefly what are some of the expectations you could have of playing with the Swiftedge as a mastery, or rather, as a part of your kind of like tool set of skills within your character. So the Swiftedge. I hope this is a little bigger. This should be a little bigger than the usual sizing, right? But it's probably still pretty small, so I'll read it. So the Swiftedge weave through the chaos of combat, daggers parrying and slashing and striking, vital pawns with surgical precision, exploit openings and turn close quarter combats into a deadly dance of feints and ambushes. So feints and ambushes plays a really big part. You'll see that in the skills later, right? Mastery in the Swiftedge places a focus on a combination of mobility, quick strikes, and executing low health targets, right? Through built-in movement and conditional skills that activate when a creature is bloodied, and certain other things, right? It requires a carver to be equipped. So, what's a carver?
So covered, so I think previously we mentioned like swords and stuff, right? So swords are under like blade type weapons. So this is actually just a classification of types of weapons. So cover is basically it will include things like dagger, obviously. So and katas, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yep. So daggers could be short blades, could be just swords that are really short. Could be like fist weapons that have like little edges on them, maybe like some kind of like arm blades or like a.
I can't remember what's that Japanese knife called, the sword, the short
which
one.
Like
not the katana.
the tanto,
the tanto,
all those like shorter blades. I mean, okay, so some of the short blades. So this is the beauty about the property system inside the weapon system in AoA, right? Which is that not every weapon squarely fits under a single category, which means that if you want to make your own weapon, if you want to design a homebrew or do something funky, right, you can actually take multiple properties and put them under a single weapon, so that one weapon can now use skills from multiple masteries. However, there's a risk of balance shenanigans there. So do that at your own risk. All right. So let's take a look at the Swiftedge skills. This is a very linear spread. I think this is like the most linear spread you can possibly have. It's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You literally have to progress through all of the skills if you want to reach the final one, which is a weakness exploit. Right. It's a little reference to my Monster Hunter fans out there. Right. So the first one, Swiftedge rank. As always, rank represents how many points you must have already spent inside your mastery to learn the skill. So 0 means you have spent 0 points in the skill, in the rank, right? And 1 means you've spent already 1, and then you can add more points. And then every learning a skill takes 1 mastery point, right?
That depends on the skill.
Depends on the
most
skill.
of it
Generally,
right now is all one,
they take at least 1 mastery point, right? So first skill, cloak and dagger. Second skill, backstab. Third skill, assassinate, right? If you've seen the mastery art, that's the mastery art for assassinate. We'll see a preview of the card later. The fourth skill, bloodseeker. If you're a Dota player, you may know what's going on. Fifth skill, weakness exploit. Right. So here are some examples of masteries of mastery combinations with the Swiftedge in mind. Right. So as always, these are suggestions rather than actual combinations that are mandated or required of you to play. So that means that you can mix and match whatever masteries you want, and that's kind of the beauty of the mastery system within AoA, right? So the first option that we usually offer is something that is a more simple, purist, generic mastery combination, and it is for people who just want to experience what this singular mastery is, along with maybe one form of like armor type, which is between our 3 armor types. We have cloth, heavy, and light, right? So the first one is the assassin. The assassin is a swift edge character with cloth armor. So you can imagine this guy's like full evasion, no protection, and he's just going around with his dagger, going around stabbing people and shit, right? So execute your targets swiftly as you fly across the battlefield, hunting down a bloodied prey and become the premier assassin of the group, right? And the second one is something a little more unique, something that might not be as common. I think completely unheard of in pretty much other RPGs, which is a not mercenary. Like mercenary obviously is heard of in every RPG, but the way that the mercenary what we coin the mercenary is played is that this is a character who has a dagger in one hand and a shield in the other. So you can imagine like a buckler of some sort, right? Adds a little bit of evasion, adds a little bit of protection, right? And he's wearing light armor, so he's not going full evasion. He's this like mix between some protection, some evasion, and then he's going really fast, swooping through the battlefield and stabbing people, right? Or executing people. So it's a bold, agile fighter, more agile than fighter, still both. Who's no stranger to brawls, right? Going up close and personal with a shield, and we won't go into the shield skills here, but shield skills do come with some kind of like brawling movement tactics and stuff like that, right? And a carver in one hand, so it could be your fist, could be a shield and your fist is like blades on it, stabbing people, and a buckler in the other, and dash through the battlefield and strike where it hurts, right? Anything else before we move on from here?
So a bit on Swiftedge. So the design philosophy for Swiftedge here will be so for the basic set itself, we are actually focusing more on the movement aspect of it. Yeah.
The mobility aspect, yes.
Mobility as well as like a bit of like the assassination stuff. So it's a bit more focused for basic set. In the future when we have like the core set and stuff like that, like expansion set, we'll explore into more fantasy. But for now, the current five skills that we have are more centralized and designed around the specific ideal of a fast moving dagger wielding character.
Right. If I have to describe it, this is more along the lines of the fantasy of like the ninja and assassin rather than
rogues,
pure like stealth per se.
Yeah.
Obviously it can still do stealth because it's fast, right? But it is very much more so focused on the assassinate and being fast part. Yeah.
So actually we do have stealth mechanics, but I would say that Swiftedge actually don't really want to use it in that sense.
I mean, only for like the first part,
yeah,
right? At that point, you're just kind of like going on a killing spree. Well, potentially killing spree. Potentially, yeah. So it's more of you'll see mechanically how it goes.
It's kind of a backline assassination feeling kind of character. Like
Yep.
it doesn't really use like the stealth and stuff like that. Like it's a tool that they have, but it will not be really used here lah. In that sense.
Yep. All right. Now let's go on to skill number 1. Okay, slight change in the format. So we have the card at the top. Card's a little bit small. Let me see if I can make it a bit bigger. I mean, end of the day, the words are still the main thing, right? Okay. First skill, cloak and dagger. This is like the basic skill that you have. So this is like stab the guy, right, and you run away. And the card example that we have is for assassinate. So this is not cloak and daggers card, right? This is just as a reference for you to take a look at what a generic card from AoA would look like. And I have some examples here as well. So these are just test prints that we have, right? Like the back of the card, and then like physical card, right? So these are MTG size cards, your standard poker size cards basically. A little bit bigger if you're familiar with like Yu-Gi-Oh or Vanguard and whatnot. They are slightly bigger than them. And as always, the way they read the card is that the top left is the type of card, top right, the cost of the card, and the bottom number is the mastery point cost. And all of the text below is the effect of the card, right? So let's get into it. What is cloak and dagger?
So as usual, this is how we'll explain how the skill will work. So there's multiple lines here, so we'll go down one by one. So the first line here is Cloak and Dagger, which is the name of the skill. And then following it like that, right? The text of the skill. So these are how we would classify skills in that sense where you look at this and then you kind of can roughly tell like what it actually does immediately. So in this case, it's a strike, melee, cover, and light. So strike is in AoA is a 2d6 roll, basic attack, stuff like that. Then melee is just obviously
melee attack.
Correct. Then cover means it's basically
because
recover a cover. So like a dagger, a weapon with that property lah.
Yep.
And light here means right. Wait, is it the
Light is one-handed weapon.
One-handed weapon. Yeah. Then next line will be skill type, which is this is a technique. We have multiple types, so but for most martial weapons will be techniques lah. Most of it, yeah. Then SP cost here is the stamina point cost. So how much? So AoE runs on the stamina point system. And that means that movement, attacks, and stuff like that all cost stamina. And in Cloak and Dagger case, it will cost 1 stamina point here. Yeah. Then mastery is it's Swiftedge 0, which means this is the first skill that you learn in the Swiftedge mastery tree. Requires wielding a cover, which is what I mentioned, like the dagger and stuff like that. And the MP cost, which is actually the mastery point cost, so the learning cost here is 1. Now we go to effect of what is Cloak and Dagger. So Cloak and Dagger, right? You immediately see that it's kind of wordy, but it's easy to understand. So what it does is you move up to 5 feet and make a weapon strike dealing 2 armor and 3 physical damage. 3 damage, sorry. So I'll go through everything first before I actually go into what it actually means lah. So what I just said that, right, was actually the basic success.
Yep.
Success
well,
effect.
The basic effect.
Yeah, basic effect, yeah. So that means you have to succeed lah to get this effect. Then followed by that it will be a single 6. So good success, and then critical success after that with 2. So all this is stacks on top of each other and it adds on to one another. So for great success, the effect for here is you deal 1 additional damage and move up to an additional 10 feet. And then after that, right, for the critical success, you deal just 2 additional damage. So for example, if you roll a critical roll, right, that means you're dealing 2 armor penetration as well as like 6 damage. Yeah, 6 damage total. Right. That's right. And you're able to move like 15 feet. Yeah.
That's a lot of movement.
Right. So do note that it's move up to. So this means you can don't move at all.
Yeah, you can choose not to move.
You can choose not to move. Yeah. So basically it's a free movement in that sense, but it's not that much. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So there's one of the more loaded first skills of all the masteries. If you've seen our previous mastery reviews, like we have blade, flame, all these guys. Generally, the first skill is just I hit you, you take damage. If not, it's something that actually enables the rest of the mastery. In this version of the Swiftedge that we have, right? So Swiftedges, I think they went through a few iterations from when we first started. But we've always wanted to have the mobility aspect inside, right?
Yeah.
So there was a thing where it's a dagger, but I'm not at the guy yet, but I get to move after, stuff like that. So where we have landed on right now is that what we want out of people who play small weapons basically, right? Like small melee weapons, is to be able to move a little bit before striking and then move more after that. So instead of ramping the raw damage, what we do is that we essentially give them free movements here and there, right?
So they're more focused on like mobility and like repositioning in that sense. Yeah. So because AoA, right, the way we do our turn system is that it's the player's turns and then the DM's turn, and then like we have this thing called a scene turn.
Well, okay, clarify. It's sides, right?
Yeah.
So you could be all enemy turn, all player turn, scene turn, or it can be all player turn, or enemy turn. Yeah, it can be vice versa, right?
But the key thing here is because we do it like that, right? So all the players move at the same time. So this means that you can have the Swiftedge guy go and like set up some like repositioning like some flanking stuff like that, so that the rest of the party can get more advantages. And that is like kind of the core design philosophy for this particular set of masteries.
Right.
Yeah. So,
So
you
this-
see like movement like a bit here, a bit there, like and that's the reason why your first skill is quite loaded in that there's quite a few movement here.
So let's take a look at so some of the new properties that we have here is light. So light is a property where you're using this weapon with one hand. You're not allowed to two-hand this weapon. Two-hand this weapon, but you can dual wield this weapon if you like. Right? Are there any inherent bonuses to dual wielding? No. Currently, as of this time, not really. You can just use skill with one hand, skill with the other hand. Up to you, but you still use stamina points. So that's the nature of the stamina point system, right? In the future, we would like to expand more into dual wielding, but that's not for the basic set. And then we move on to the effect. So you move 5 feet first. Move up to 5 feet first before the melee weapon strike occurs, right? Which means that if you are already 5 feet away from an enemy, you stab him, right? And then after that, if you have a great success, you can zoom back out. Or if you're already on the guy, moving up to 5 feet does not mean that you have to do this before the attack. It just means that you can move up to 5 feet. So you can stab him and then move out to 5 feet later, or you can, that the order, the way the movement works is that it kind of like stacks as a resource and you can just spend it as and when throughout your round, which is the beauty of the thing, right? Because everybody goes at the same time. So as long as it's within your player rounds, you can use your movement as and when once you have spent the SP, right? The second point of note is that Cloak and Dagger has armor penetration. That is this is the first weapon that has built-in armor pen that we've seen, or the second one. I think it's the second one. Even Blade. Blade has. Yeah, Blade doesn't have much. So one of the core identities for daggers in AoA is having some level of armor penetration by default.
So it's kind of the middle ground-ish in that sense. Middle, like slightly lower in that sense. So we will have a weapon that is like more specialized, and we have weapons that doesn't have armor penetration. Also, daggers, Swiftedge, sits roughly in the bottom half. So you see a bit here and there, but it's not a lot. But in AoE, because armor is also pretty hard to get, and having a little bit of armor penetration does help.
Yeah, it goes a long way. And in the range of melee weapons that we have, so we have stuff like swords, we have daggers, and if you have seen the main characters, yes, he has a little hammer over here, right? So depending on what type of weapon types you have, well, we have designed them with different amounts of armor penetration built in mind, right? So we have blades on the lowest end, and we have hammers on the highest end, right? And you'll see where everything else fits into. Blunt weapons, bludgeons. Okay. Second effect, use 1 damage and move up to another additional 10 feet after, which means after you've landed the attack, right? So you can move in, strike, move another 10 feet out, or you can strike, and then if you have a great success, you can move 15 feet all the way. So you're starting to see, okay, I can go from one target to another, or I can stay on a target, I can stick on a target, I can run away from a target. There's a lot of things that are happening here, right? And the last one is to just do more damage. And on that note, one thing you might have also noticed is that if you were to compare the basic attack of the dagger to other weapons, it's a little bit low. Just a little bit, right? If you go to like Fireball, you go to the sword one, right? Right. Like it's like 2 points lower, and you're like, okay, like how am I supposed to be assassinating and doing all those fancy things? We'll get to that, right? Okay. Anything else before I move on to the next skill?
No, it's kind of wordy, but pretty basic actually. If you break it down, like if you think about like if you treat movement as like part of your like attack roll and stuff like that, it's pretty basic. Yeah.
All right. Let me just move this right here. Okay. So as we go through the different skills, I'll kind of just go back to this scene once in a while, and so we can just take a quick look at all of the things that we've gone through at the same time, right? So description, skill number 1, right? Now we're going to go back to skill number 2, which is backstab. I thought we had no opportunity attacks.
So, I mean, we didn't. Yes. It. So a bit of history. Okay, I'm going to ramble a bit, but yeah. So a bit of history on this is actually right. That we used to have. I think we mentioned this is we used to have opportunity attack. We remove it because of Swiftedge, basically. So we had this decision pivot in that sense where we were
because
because we pivoted in that sense lah. So
I guess we gave the design space
we
to
gave the
Swiftedge,
design. So we created, instead of making it like a generic thing, we created we decided to remove it from the main core of the game and put it into like and treat it as a design space that we allocated it to daggers quite highly. Yeah. So you see kind of I think like two. Yeah. You have two react skills actually for Swiftedge. Yeah. So backside is one of them. Yeah. So you can if you still like to play like reaction stuff like that, dagger is probably like Swiftedge is probably one of the better ones for you. Yeah, I think there's a few other weapons that does that, but Swiftedge probably does it the best. Yeah.
Yeah. If I had to pick like what is one of the ironically swifter and more reactionary melees to play, melee weapons to play, right? In AoA, that would be the dagger for sure, right?
Yeah.
It has to embody like
yeah.
that fast, mobile, like quick gameplay. And what better way is there to do that than to have reactions? Which has been kind of ruined in other RPGs by having everybody have reactions, right? In AoA, we have kept that space, that design space, mainly for the daggers. And, well, there are some other ones, but they are not as aggressively used as the daggers. Or
I would say that
Swiftedge.
they're not as powerful actually also, because daggers relies a bit on reaction.
I mean, it's powerful, but it's not powerful in the same way, right? This is offensively powerful, right? Okay, let's get into it. What is backstab?
So backstab is a react. So like what we mentioned, so react is actually our reactionary tag. So what that means is you can use this skill when the condition for this is correct. So that condition will be in the effect later lah. Yeah. So it's a react, strike, melee, cover, and light. So quite similar actually to Cloak and Dagger in that sense. Just that this now has a react tag.
Yep.
So same skill tag is a technique. The stamina point cost here is also 1. And this is a level 1 skill. So this means you need to have at least 1 point invested into Swiftedge to learn this skill lah. Yeah. Then requirement is you need to be using a cover weapon as well as the mastery point cost being 1 here. So the learning cost here is 1. Yeah. So what is the condition that is required to use backstab? So it is when a creature exits your touch or melee range. So this means like this is actually if you have played D&D, it's exactly opportunity attack 1-to-1 basically. Yeah. So
well, with a caveat. Yeah.
So the caveat being it's melee range. So if you have things that's like, so I think Radiant is one of them that increase the melee range. Yeah. So that means that your melee range is now 10 feet.
If for whatever reason your dagger has reach, yes. Okay.
I mean, yeah. So that is kind of the. I mean, we have mentioned this before. So this is one of the synergies that you can also see lah. So daggers, having melee range as the tag instead of like only being like 5 feet.
Yep.
Like very specifically like 5 feet or like X amount of like distance away. So this is how we do our like synergistic skills between one another. So like there is reason to give the dagger guy the buff. Yeah, in that sense. Yeah. So what's the actual effect of this is you do a melee weapon strike that deals 1 armor and 5 damage this time. Then when you get a good great success, you deal 1 additional armor and 1 additional damage, and at critical success you do just 2 additional damage. Yeah.
Right. Numbers are a lot higher here, as you can tell.
Yes.
We're talking about that is potentially 8 damage on a critical. Baseline is 5. If the guy has armor, effectively it's 6, right? And if you do a great success, effectively it's 8, right? Very high, 1 SP cost. And I'd like to talk a little bit about the react when a creature exits your touch and melee range, right? So I've always had this issue with mainly in D&D, right? Probably other games in Reach as well. When it comes to exiting your melee range, right? If you have a long melee range, right, they would have to be at the maximum edge of your melee range, technically, for you to use your attack, right? If you have a spear, you can't strike the guy if he's like within 5 feet of you and walking in between the 5 and the 10, right? It's very strange, right? So this is one of the wordings that we have added into a lot of our skills, which is that when they exit your touch or your melee range. So within 5 feet, like literally in touching range, or out of your melee's range, right? Helps to clean up a lot of things, a lot of like legalistic stuff, and generally I think it's overall more all-encompassing and intended, right? Because we do want people to like, oh, I literally just walk past you, I want to be able to strike you. That's the intent of the skill, right? That's the intent of opportunity attacks in general in the first place, right? And onto that, so melee range, in this case, just now we mentioned, Radiance has an enchantment that actually extends your weapon's range by 5 feet, right? Which means that you can now backstab people from 5 feet further away. At that point, is your dagger really still a dagger? Not really, it's basically a sword, right? But it's cool. So
But sword doesn't have 10 feet.
it's fine, right? It works, right? It's cool. You have a dagger, it's like, boop, and the lightsaber just pops out, right? He stabs the guy from afar, right? I think these are some of the synergies that we like, that we like to see, and we have created intentionally so that either you could choose to play this, for example, as a Radiant Swiftedge character, which is like a holy assassin, or you could have your allies who have Radiance Mastery pick up the skill and grant you the enchantment, right? Greatsword being 5 feet range is so, yeah. I mean, greatswords are massive, right? Like it's kind of ridiculous. Like a real greatsword is so, it's like 2 meters or something.
It's great for a reason.
Yeah, it's great for a reason. They're essentially like pole arms, right? Like you're grabbing the thing,
Yeah.
you're using 2 hands and you're stabbing, and then you swing. When you're swinging a greatsword, your range is, I would dare say, pretty much, okay, besides maybe like a poleaxe, right? Like it's equivalent to a spear, because you hold a spear like near the shaft, and then you step forward, right? So you have to do this like kind of like thrusting motion, right? Doesn't look very good on camera. So yeah, greatswords have massive ranges, and the way we do that usually it encompasses the whole 5 feet range in typical melee, right? So to really kind of drive home that kind of concept, our weapon properties allow you to add on reach, and then skills, enchantments can add on more ranges if you really want to get that kind of fantasy. But well, that's usually not for daggers, right? So that's a bit of a side tangent for other all melee weapons in general.
Unless you somehow homebrew your own weapon, then
which totally possible, because all of our properties are in the basic set rulebook.
outside.
Yeah, that's right. So
we can't show anything in the center anymore.
Yeah. The rules to actually creating the weapons will not be inside the rulebook itself. We'll probably release them separately and eventually, hopefully, get into the core book, right?
No promises there first.
Yeah, no promises.
I'm going to say that first.
But we will try to get them into at least like some kind of a separate document, lah. Yeah. Okay. And so in effect, practically this skill is an opportunity attack in the most classic sense of it, right? Someone runs past you, you stab them with your dagger, right? Thus backstab, right? Has a little bit of armor penetration, as because it's a dagger, but I think thematically it also makes sense. If someone has, some armor and whatnot, and you're going to backstab him, you're not going to stab him right in the plate, right? You're going to stab him where it's, like a neck or like some open
exposed area.
Exposed area. Like, why would you use a dagger, like such a small weapon, and then stab them right in the plate? Like, that's not very smart, right? And this kind of dives in a little bit to our general design idea of fantasy behind daggers, which is that why are daggers like the lowest damage and not have any bonuses against like armors and whatnot? Because realistically, you would never use a dagger against like a plated enemy and stab his armor, right? Like you use it when he's already down on the floor, you stab an opening, you stab like the groin or the armpit or something like that, right? So this is kind of added into the game mechanically, right? To represent the fantasy by having that little bit of armor penetration, which represents that you are someone who's skilled with a dagger, skilled with a sharp weapon, a small blade. That you're going to go for the weak points. You're not going to go for like the blade, right? They don't take into account that yeah, right, because you step and you slash, right? Like it's not you don't right. Like that's not exactly how it works.
There's always a bit of movement tied into like swinging a sword, stuff like that. It's like you're not stationary.
Like, I mean, you can be.
You can be, but
usually with
not,
every cut, you take a step, right?
Because
even if it's on the spot,
because you're using a body weight to move around a bit.
Yeah. There's a bit of a swing. Yeah. Even like for boxing or punching, you would throw a little bit of your force into the thing. Okay. Anything else for backstab?
Nothing, but just take note that this is a reactionary skill. And it triggers every time this happens. So this means you can technically use this skill multiple times. Yeah. So but what I mean by that is like at, say for example, at level 3 where you have like 3 stamina, right? And 3 guys just run past you.
Yeah.
You
can backstab 3 people.
Yeah.
Yep. No problem.
However, do note that if you do that, when it's your turn, you have nothing to do.
Yeah, you start the next round with no stamina. That's true. Rondels are made for fighting armor, but rondels are okay. If we take a rondel and we put it into like D&D, right? It's gonna do like 1d4, right? not very armor fighting, right?
That's just a basic dagger? No.
Yeah, basic dagger.
No, that is 1d6, I think.
No, dagger's 1d4.
1d4.
Yeah. So
don't remember.
That's why in the system we have designed it in a way where that armor penetration is built directly into the skill itself. Yeah, which kind of encapsulates the ability for you to fight with the dagger already, right? What is possible is that maybe if there's a dagger that is especially designed for fighting armor, could be a magical item, could be whatever it is, it could add bonus armor penetration. So that is the way that we will design different magical items and relics and whatnot, right? Okay, so that is backstab. Yes. Okay. The skill. Yes, let me add that too. Boop. Right. So now we've gone through 2 of the skills, cloak and dagger, backstab, and then third on the list right there is assassinate, which is right here. Right. So assassinate is the little card. This way, right? This one. Yeah. So assassinate is the namesake, right? If you're an assassin, you gotta assassinate someone, right? So assassinate is the skill to assassinate people with. Okay.
It's ironic. Okay, a bit of tangent here. It's ironic in that it's assassinate, but it's one of the two skill that will make you feel like a true assassin.
Well, yes. I mean, that's the point of the skill.
No,
right?
as in, you have a second skill that actually you can.
Also true. So also true.
That's why I said this is kind of ironic in that sense where this is truly what an assassin is, but to fully embrace the movement and like assassination skill, right? You need the tech skill.
Yes.
We'll
get to that later.
But
right.
Yeah, so you understand that later when I explain it. So, but let's go through assassinate first. So assassinate here, it's a strike melee cover, like very basic. Right? I feel like I don't have to go through this anymore. Yeah. So skill type, technique.
Yep.
The skill stamina point cost here is a bit more expensive at 2 stamina.
2.
Yeah. And the learning cost the requirement is 2, which is the third skill here. Then you need to be using a Swiftedge weapon, a cover weapon, sorry. And the mastery point cost here, the learning cost here is 1. So what it actually does is it's a melee weapon strike dealing 2 armor and 5 damage. 2 armor penetration and 5 damage. For the great success here, it's if the creature has less than 5 health after damage from the strike, which is the first part of the skill, they will instantly die. Assassinate. Right.
They just die.
Yeah. Then for the critical effect, right? Critical success effect, you may take a move action
Yep.
Yeah, move action and another assassinate at
Yep.
no cost. So you can see where this will lead.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. This is very. I think when we first saw this in action, we were a bit surprised at how well it worked.
Uh,
I remember when this came out.
okay. There are a lot of conditions before this thing actually
Yeah,
works
but when
well,
it actually
right?
works.
But when it works, it works very well,
works too
right?
well.
It is a nice feeling. It is a nice feeling that you will get from no other mastery, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a look at the effects, right? So we go down the list. The baseline effect of assassinate is actually really simple. It doesn't assassinate very much.
It is actually the simplest skill here.
Right.
In the entire
For the base effect,
For the base effect.
right? Which is just 2 armor pen, 5 damage. This is for if you removed everything below, this is worse than most skills.
Yes.
This is
because for the stamina point.
correct. It's terrible. It's 2 SP. You only do 5 damage. What trash is this? Right. This is terrible. Right. However, second effect, if the creature, which you have to roll at least 1/6 or be flanking someone, right, for you to gain the great success effect.
If you remember our inspiration,
right,
where it grants you a 6.
So if you have an inspiration guy in your party, a bard or something, and he's like, "Hey, strike true, baby," and you go, right, that's what's gonna happen. You roll a natural 6 or you set a 6 and you guarantee that you execute the target. So this goes from a 2 stamina 2/5 to a 2 stamina 2/10, right? And
if they're below 5.
Basically 2/10.
2/10,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so it's 2/10 if they're below 5 and they instantly die. Do not use this on someone you're trying to non-lethal, okay? They will die. Okay, this is non-negotiable. It says they instantly die. Right? This is non-negotiable.
There is no non-lethal assassinate.
Yes, there's no non-lethal assassinations, alright? If you want a non-lethal the guy, go knock him out. Don't assassinate him. Okay.
You have every other skill here to use and not this.
Right. So yes, if you have great success as an assassinate, it kills the guy, totaling 210 basically, right, for 2 stamina costs. And the critical effect, which is what really brings this up to the next line, right, which is if you finish everything, if you crit. It doesn't say you have to kill the guy, by the way. You don't have to execute the person to use the critical effect. It just is cumulative, right? You crit, you get to take a move for free, which is dependent on your character's movement speed, right? So if your character runs at 25 feet, 30 feet, 35 feet, 40 feet, whatever it is, right? You're going to take another full move action for free and another assassinate for free, right? Which means you do have to roll again, right? So if you roll a really nice crit, and the second time you don't roll so nice, well, too bad, right?
Or if you roll another crit.
And if you roll another crit, that's right, you're gonna do it again, right? So you start to see like, okay, as a dagger guy, I want to set up my play, right? I want flanks, I want advantages, I want to roll high, right? I want to roll as many 6s as possible to get into this kind of loop and chain. But you also need your enemies to be below 5 HP after your attack, right? So you have to take into account, okay, how much armor does this guy have, right? You're thinking, okay, how much HP does he have left? And the target is bloodied, right? So if a target is bloodied, which is a mechanic, a bloody target is a target who is below half their life. So okay, this target is now bloodied. He doesn't have a lot of armor. I have my ally over there. I'm gonna go right in. You assassinate the guy, right? And he dies, and you roll a crit, and you go to the next guy, and my ally is already next to him. Or I can ask my ally to run next to him and go after him and assassinate him as well, right? So there's a lot of setup and a lot of planning, and then bam, you execute everything, and you literally execute everything, right? And that can be really, really, really satisfying. But if you fail to roll, it can be a little bit of a bummer, right? So this is a skill that has a lot of flavor but requires planning, right? High risk, really, really, really high payoff,
really
like
high
super
payoff,
high
yeah.
payoff,
Yeah.
right? Initially, assassinate was much cheaper and much easier to do.
I think there wasn't like I think the critical success was different. The great success was the same, I think.
and the execute radius was different.
Yeah.
The execute radius, execute range was different,
yeah.
right? It didn't used to be 5, it used to be like 4 or 3 or something like that.
Mm.
So it was barely an execute. You just strike it one more time, he'll die. So it was barely an execute, and then there wasn't like the move part. There wasn't a bunch of like I think there was, you could still reuse it. I think
You could. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
it's basically a refresh.
It was
right?
quite yeah.
So this is reminiscent of a lot of what we see in MOBAs, especially. So in MOBAs, you would have like an ultimate that might execute someone. If you're familiar with like Pike in League of Legends, you would like jump between target to target. Same for I think like Viego or something, or Darius. Right? Yeah, you execute someone and then you reset. Right, you can go for another execute if you can do something in time.
Garen?
Right? Garen doesn't reset.
No more.
He never reset it. Never reset it. Yeah. He just Tomasia and then the guy dies. That's about it. Right. So with the assassinate, one thing that I can't remember, but can you set it up with tenacious soul? Okay, it's not a challenge role. So this is a strike. Tenacious soul only applies to challenges. So challenges are like when you're trying to attempt something, not when you're trying to attack someone, right? Because at the end of the day, when you attack, you're going against their evasion. Yeah, so eventually it fails, right? Yeah, where was I? All right. So when you assassinate, right, do take into account that it costs 2 SP. You don't have to immediately use your new assassinate if you crit. You can move around. You can do something else. You could get your ally to help you first, do some other shenanigans setup, and then you use your second assassinate, right? So you don't go to full bloodlust and just go next. That's for the next skill, right?
yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
So I mean, like what I mentioned earlier. So I think when we first saw this skill appeared, and when it was actually used, I think by one of the playtesters, it went into a frenzy.
Yeah.
And I think that was when I saw this, I'm like, I have to redo all my other skills. Because this was one of the few skills that actually I think these were the only few skills that actually embrace like the true like opposite like extreme end of like the spectrum of like skills that we can have.
Yep.
And I think because of this we redesigned basically like a very good example of the change due to this was actually archery. Yeah. So that was basically because of this.
Yep. This is one of the skills that became one of our cornerstones in terms of power fantasy level. Right. In your traditional RPGs, because at the end of the day they're very much more focused on the basic character itself rather than I mean the classes do grant them power, yes, but a lot of it
actually
a lot of it is still okay, it's a basic attack, right? So it's encapsulated into that basic attack concept, and what we don't want to do that. We want to go really out there, like really RPG, like anime kind of thing going on.
We want you to feel like you're fighting God.
Yeah, so for you to do that, you need to do some crazy shit, right? And so this was the first time when in game in the actual combat itself, and not only in a mind space imagination fantasy thing, right? Did we achieve something that was on that level? That wasn't just like nerding out on math, right?
Yeah.
Because there are times where it's like, yeah, I did a lot of damage, but
it doesn't feel good.
It's not the same as holy shit, you just like did all these things, right? It's not the same concept.
I think this was the one skill that you felt a difference between actually using a skill and using Excel. Yeah.
Right. No, we're guessing this skill up a lot, but the next one is also
I'm sorry,
deserving of guessing, right?
I think the next skill is actually more guessing.
Yes,
that is.
I would say so.
That is my favorite. That is the favorite skill of mine.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So we've gone through assassinate, and now we're going on to the 4th skill, which is a Bloodseeker. If you guys are familiar with
Warwick,
not Warwick actually. So Dota 1, the original Dota, right? There's a hero called Striker, literally Bloodseeker, right? This skill is a ode to him, right?
Okay. I designed this after Warwick first.
Yeah, but Warwick is based on Striker.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
So Warwick is basically Bloodseeker, right? And so Bloodseeker.
So this is the second react skill that we will have in Swiftedge here. It's a Bloodseeker. So text here is react, strike, melee, cover, and like react when you react. Everything else is the same. Skill type is a technique. Stamina point cost here is also a bit more expensive at 2
also
points. Then mastery requirement is 3, so
Mm.
you need to learn all the previous skill that we have talked about so far.
Yeah.
And requires building a cover, and the learning point cost here is like 1.
Yeah.
So what it actually does is when the reaction is when a creature within 2 times your movement speed. So example,
there's a bit of math going on.
yeah,
here,
this is a bit more math heavy.
It's not math heavy in the moment. It's only math heavy the first time you learn the skill.
Yeah,
right. Because you're gonna get used to like what exactly is 2 times your speed. It's like it's always the same thing.
one quick example here would be if your movement speed is 30, this means it's 60.
Within 60 feet, right?
Yeah. So there's a few reasoning for this later that you'll see why. So within your 2 times of your movement speed is bloodied. So bloodied, as I think you mentioned earlier, it's a condition that is applied.
It's not really applied. They just
really
have
applied.
this condition.
You just
right?
gain this condition when you are below your half of your
below,
HP.
yeah.
So for example, if you have like 10 HP, this happens when you have 5.
Yeah.
So move to it. So this means you can move directly to that guy.
Yes.
And you will do a melee weapon strike dealing 2 armor and 6 damage. So of course you have to roll. So because this is a strike, so this means you also have a critical, a great success that deals +1 as well as a critical that does +2.
Right. So why exactly is this skill so amazing? Like, cause honestly, on first look,
it's actually nothing.
2 stamina, 2 6. What do you mean, man? Like all of my other masteries can do so much more damage. Like your swords, you can double strike. You have your flame guys doing like 8, 10 damage with fireballs and stuff like that. What's so special about Bloodseeker?
So I have mentioned this, which stamina points, right, is basically the counter that we use for all kinds of movement, right? So this means like movement action costs 1 stamina point, and each movement cost is 1 stamina, and you cannot move up to a movement speed. Technically, if you read this properly, well, I mean you guys do, but you are moving 60 feet and doing a attack for basically 2 stamina. So you could see how that is going to be very, very cost effective in terms of stamina point cost. And it's a lot of inbuilt stuff like that. And the damage is decent actually. It's not low, it's not like crazily high. It's average. Yeah. And this is a reaction. So this means, right, this can happen not only on your turn.
Yep.
It can happen on like when somehow, I don't know why, but during the enemy turn, right? So one of them like got trapped or something, and they fall below and they enter the bloody condition. The moment that happens, right, you can use this skill.
Yep. Just go. Alright, so to help you guys pierce through the veil a little bit. For 2 stamina costs, you're essentially making up to 2 moves, right? Because you're moving up to twice the movement speed, and you get to attack, right? 2 penetration, 6 damage. So if you include the cost of the SP, that's basically a free attack for 2/6, right? Now, yes, the great success and the critical success is not that amazing, because we decided to front load a lot of this effects, right? End of the day, this is a reaction. We don't want it to be overly reliant on rolls, and so we want to push a bit more of the effect on the front. Of course, it's still going to do decent damage no matter how you look at it. If you great success, 2/7, great success, 2/9, really good 2 stamina costs, right? Now, as you mentioned just now, where this really shines is because it's a reaction. This happens on the specific trigger of when a target goes bloody, right? This could be when your ally strikes an enemy and you're like, oh, he's in kill range, jump right over there, right? Or this could be when an enemy falls into a trap of some sort. So that is on your enemy's turn. He comes in, someone else reacts to hit him, and then you can go for the assassinate. Not the assassinate, sorry, the Bloodseeker, right? You can go for the assassinate next time, right? Or somebody falls off a cliff, or you get pushed off a high area, which might happen.
You can chase after him.
likely to happen in our free adventure. Not free adventure. Adventure is included in our basic set.
Technically free.
It's
you buy the
included.
set, it's
It's
technically
that's right.
free.
It's technically free if you purchase the set, right? So, in the basic set, the adventure, Terrace and the Thunderstep, right? There are a lot of high locations, and you will be fighting from high places quite often. Well, yes, pretty often. At least there'll be some kind of a ledge. So when someone were to take some kind of ambient damage or maybe a burn of some sort or condition, and they fall below half-life, you're able to dash them as well.
Correct.
Right.
So a bit of refresher that. So burn happens on Sinton. So
Yep.
this you can use this skill during Sintons. Yeah.
Yes, you can bloody unseen that. That's right. That's true.
From the burn,
Yeah. Right. It could be burn. It could be mostly burn.
Any effect that happens during Sinton, right? Will still trigger this. So it react in this case, right? Actually, in most cases, doesn't really care the turn order. It happens whenever the conditions are met and you are able to use it. So in this case, it's like there's a bloody target and you have 2 stamina points.
Yep.
Correct. Then this you can use this. Yeah. So I mean, you'll not be able to use this if you don't have 2 stamina and stuff like that. Yeah. But basically, this is there is no you don't have to use it on your turn.
Yeah. I mean, you still can, don't worry, bro.
Yeah. NPC. So if NPC attacks someone because NPCs
they move on the scene.
They move on the scene turn, and if they bloodied someone, you can use this skill as well. Yeah.
Yep, that is correct. Oh, no, that's my Twitch notification. So some of the cool interactions that you have with Bloodseeker in particular is that Bloodseeker, right? Because Bloodseeker is a reaction, and can you Bloodseek allies? Yes, you can, but you will hurt them as well.
So so basically you can, because it says react when a creature.
Yep.
It never say like enemy creature. It never says what. It just says a creature.
I mean, generally for all things in AoA, just like most RPGs, right? There's no real harsh distinguishing factor between ally and enemy. It's just, do I think this creature is friendly? Sure. Okay, he's now friendly, right? It's whoever you want to target, right? That's the real idea behind it. So if my friend over there, he Half-Life, he's a creature, right? He's alive. I'm gonna strike him, right? Over there and stab him.
He wants to make a new character.
Is that wise? Well, I'll leave that up to your friend, right? Might be a good idea, might not be a good idea, right? However, if your ally has a shield and he has a lot of armor, more than 2 hopefully, right? He could negate most of the damage and he could just take the hit, and it will give you basically free.
A lot more than 2.
I mean, yes, but it will basically help you to free up a little bit of movement, 1 SP of movement. Sure. Right. I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend that. But so what's one of the cool things that you can have with Bloodseekers? The Bloodseeker is a reaction. So stamina point comes back at the end of your round. So after the player's round, after they've spent all their stamina, right? Their SP actually comes back. So this SP is meant for their reactions, and after that, when it reaches their next player round, this same SP continues and it doesn't reset. It only resets at the end of that round, right? So what it means is that you can blow your stamina, you can you can Bloodseeker, right? And then the following round, you can still make a small move, which is 1 SP.
Oh, you can use like one of those 1 stamina point skills, like Cloak and Dagger is 1.
So you use Cloak and Dagger, you can maybe you can grapple the guy or something, like if you like to, right? And if you have multiple masteries, you might want to use that 1 SP. So one thing that you can't do is you can't Bloodseeker into Assassinate immediately. However, there are ways. Right? So there are 2 ways. I'll tell you about one of them today, which is that you can use the Beyond mechanic, right? And the Beyond mechanic is what happens when you roll 2 1s, or when your enemies roll 2 6s against you.
So
it's
not you, it's your
players.
Right?
Yes. The players all together, right? When anytime anybody rolls 2 1s, this could be a challenge roll, it could be a strike roll, it could be a blast roll, it could be any of the rolls, right? And then, or when your enemies roll a natural crit against you, right, which is 2 6s. This could be with advantage, this could be with disadvantage, whatever it is, right? You'll gain a Beyond point, which is a meta currency, right? So when you gain 3 Beyond points, anybody in your party this is a shared currency, can use 3 beyond points to go beyond. And what that allows you to do is instantly take a full turn. Right? So you see where I'm going with that. Right? Which means that you can Bloodseeker, and then you have, okay, I have 1 SP left, right? Go in another turn, right? And now I have another 3. Now I have 4 SP and I can assassinate twice, or I can assassinate as many times as I can crit, right? So there is the potential for a lot of chaining, right? Of course, you can do this with a lot of different masteries, right? Like different masteries have their own way to go berserk with Beyond, but this is one of the really straightforward and design methods that we've done for the Swiftedge in particular, right? And also did happen in our playtest.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, okay, I was gonna say that technically we didn't like Beyond was designed separately from all the mastery actually. So Beyond was actually just basically a whole different system that was actually not designed with kind of
Yeah, we don't design Beyond
we don't,
around
yeah.
the masteries, but
there is a lot of creative usage of Beyond with the mastery.
Correct.
Because of how the stamina system works.
Yeah, they're set up in a way where you can't quite achieve every single thing you want to do within a single turn unless someone helps you.
Or at least at level 5.
Yeah, at least at level 5. That's right.
When
or
you-
level 3 rather, realistically.
level 3,
Realistically. Right. So yes, one of the ways is that you can use Beyond, and the second way I won't tell you about. Right. So you can go think about
maybe in the future.
maybe. Okay. And with that is Bloodseeker. With anything else you want to add?
Yeah, actually nothing. I mean, I'm going to stop hyping this skill up anymore because anymore, and it's going to take over archery as my favorite mastery.
Okay. Right. So now we have gone through 4 skills. Right. So we have Cloak and Dagger, Backstab, Assassinate, Bloodseeker. You can see all of them have kind of like a little bit of mobility in them. 3 out of 4 of them so far, and one of them is a reaction. Right. Very in theme with having your shortblades and daggers in mind. Backstab someone, does a nice amount of damage. Now, the 5th skill,
the most unassuming skill ever,
is a very unassuming skill with really understated is wrong. It's the wrong way to put it, right? Well, let's get into it. Weakness exploit.
The least amount of text you'll ever see, but yes.
If you're familiar with Monster Hunter, you will know what weakness exploit is.
So, weakness exploit, single attack, it only has light.
Yep.
Right. So nothing else. The first type of skill that you see the only difference, which is this is a trait. So this is more of a passive skill.
It's a passive skill.
So what that means is it's consistently active. Yeah. That's just what a trait is. Then because it's a passive skill, there's no stamina point cost here, and the mastery requirement here is Swiftedge 4. So this is the kind of capstone skill of Swiftedge in the basic set. Yeah. The requirements here is a bit more different. It is wielding a light weapon. So this means any weapon that has a light property in it. So
just any one-handed weapon.
Yeah. So specifically must be light. It must not be like versatile.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is quite specific.
Yep.
Then the learning point cost here is 1. And what it actually does is when you're flanking, you gain an advantage on the strike. Pretty straightforward until you realize that when you are flanking, you really guarantee a great success. So and this is one of the most synergistic skill. I don't think you get any more synergistic than this to be fair. So because it just activates when you're wielding a light weapon. Right? So one example is if we go back to the blade weapons. So if we took a blade that is a light hand, there's a light property weapon, you could basically activate this every time. Right. And if you come back to Swiftedge, this happens on all your skills now. Right. And because Swiftedge likes to have more 6 stuff like that, right? And like guaranteed crit. So one example of using this is using it with Assassinate, where this basically can help you to gain even more advantage now, and you might even get your chances of getting a critical is much higher now with this skill. Yeah. So it's pretty unassuming, but it's quite strong.
It's a it's a baseline multiplier on just about every single strike that you can possibly do. And this is specifically strikes. So for all of the Swiftedge skills, strikes are, they're all strikes. There's no blast, there's no nothing. So you are rolling a lot. You are rolling, right? Having an advantage, what does that mean? As a reminder, so every strike, you roll 2d6. You roll 2d6, and then with an advantage, you add a die. And then you take the two highest number. So if this is high, you take this two. If it's not, you just take the original two, right? So advantage simply means that you add an additional die and you take the two highest. If you have more than one advantage, you just add more dice. If you have disadvantage, you minus the dice until you hit disadvantage. Then you add a dice and you take the two lowest, right? So what are we actually looking at here? When you're flanking, you already have a great success every time you flank as a melee character, right? What it means is, if you have an ally next to the enemy and you go and flank this target, you already had a great success. So you actually only needed to roll the only bonus at disadvantage is to succeed, right? So this, first of all, encourages is this pretty much ensures that most of your attacks are going to succeed, right? You are not going to miss much. Rarely, unless your target is super evasive, right? You are not going to miss much anymore, right? Once you have this thing. And the second thing is this greatly increases the amount of the rate in which you get critical successes, right? Which means rolling two natural sixes. If you have an inspiration ally with you, you are going to get a lot of criticals with this passive if you have set up the flank, which is the key, right? So this is a really powerful passive. If you have set up the flank, so you need to have set this up.
So this is one of the reasons why the very first skill, Cloak and Dagger, it's pretty strong because you can move to set up a flank.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's why you notice that a lot of the skills that we have, right, they are all usable from level 1 all the way to level 5. Like, it's intended that way because when we are designing, we believe that there's no, if you are making a skill to remove it or
remove a higher level,
have a stronger version of it later, then there's no point in creating the skill in the first place. So you notice that a lot of the skills are actually very reusable, even when you're at higher levels and stuff like that, because the effect is unique to itself. Yeah.
Yep. So we don't have basic attack 2. That's not a thing. Right. The way it would scale is through more traits, other synergies, weapons, magical items. And that also means that generally the damage numbers are fairly close. Chinese checkers yes, basically you want to reverse the guy. Right? you want to set up your positionals and then you flank rear the guy, right? And yeah, I think the focus behind planning and executing is also one of the key aspects behind playing an assassin character, or the assassin archetype, the executor archetype. You don't just want to go in and literally cut down everybody. That belongs to the sword guy.
Positioning and tactical is kind of the base that we expect for AoA as a whole. So we expect most gameplay sessions, right, or most combat scenarios to be a bit more leaning more into the tactical side. But it is especially true for the Swiftedge guys. They really want to maneuver and stuff like that.
Right. It's a much bigger focus for sure. Right. And what was I going to say? Right. So the setup for a lot of the flanking and whatnot, and flanking is a almost mandatory setup for a lot of Swiftedge. Swiftedge is not a very powerful mastery by itself. It's not a very powerful mastery in facing a larger opponent face to face, but it is a very powerful mastery when you have allies, when you have set up your combat in a way where you can fully take advantage of a lot of the scenarios around you, be it bonus NPCs, the creatures, your friends, right, and taking advantage of the turn order, right, the round order, right. So the better you are at mastering these additional mechanics, the more you can really get into this mindset of I'm a master assassin, master ninja. I'm gonna plan all these things, and then my allies are doing this, and then you jump in from the shadows and you just finish off everything, right?
Kill stealing.
And that is the fantasy that we do want to achieve, right? And it is definitely achievable, 100% achievable. We've seen it play it out. It is satisfying. It is satisfying for sure.
So I mean, this is just moving back a bit lah. So that whole dream, right? Dream is actually achievable even without the beyond lah. So this is kind of achievable already, even with just the base stamina points. So like 3 points lah, basically. Yeah.
I mean, that's the other method that we didn't talk about. Right. And so with that is the 5th skill and the last skill in Swiftedge. Is there anything else you want to go through there?
Nope. It's I mean, it's very short compared to every other Swiftedge skill, but it is the most, I would say, important skill so far in Swiftedge.
I want to say it's the most important, but it elevates everything.
It elevates
right?
everything.
It elevates all of the entire setup together, right? Can you do without it? Sure. You're just playing a lot more with luck instead of with a setup. This allows you to. But the thing is, end of the day, if you are playing with a bunch of ranged characters, it might not be that good.
Yeah.
There's a risk that
unless you play the beast guy, and then you're flanking with the beast, then
potentially, right? Yeah. Potentially, yeah. So even with that is one of the possible like mastery combinations. So if you were to play a hunter, and a hunter, instead of you want to play like a bow character or spear character, whatnot, you could play a dagger hunter, right? Where you have your pet flanks the guy, then you have your dagger and you go in and you go strike at the same time, right? So if you go check out our beast mastery review, we've gone through a bunch of skills that actually have a lot of synergy with especially Swiftedge, right? Swiftedge, one of the more synergistic combinations to play that. Yeah, that's the only way I can put it. It works really well together, right? More so than other masteries. Yeah. Definitely one of the better combinations. Okay,
better isn't the correct word here. It's the more interesting combination would be the correct word. Yeah. It's not objectively better. Like, yeah. I just want to make it clear I'm not trying to say that everything is balanced and like everything's like what, but I would say that it's objectively better in that it's more interesting, it's more fun.
I mean, I think that there are some things that because you have a limited number of mastery points, right? And you can only spread them so far, right? If you have weakness expert, you've already spent 5 points into.
Which means you have like 1 point then.
Yeah, so you realistically at level 5, you have 1 more point to put in something else. So if you get a pet, hey, free flank, right? Pretty much. It is one of the better options to choose for sure, right? If it fits your fantasy, even better. Alternatively, you can spread them in different ways, of course. And depending on what you're trying to achieve, there are definitely better routes, right? They are objectively better for what you're trying to achieve. Right, so if you're trying to achieve that fantasy of being like a beastmaster, then I'll recommend this. Right, if you're trying to achieve like this like bow hunter guy, okay, obviously don't take the dagger, take the bow, right? Take archery and take beast, right? But how many points you want to put in archery, how many points you want to put in beast, that very much depends on your group dynamic, your playstyle, your character, right? And whether your character would be a character who would do that kind of thing, right? Because end of the day, you're playing an RPG. Yeah, it should fit exactly what you have in your head and what you're trying to achieve. Be it in the game, on the field, helping your team, right? Helping your party, whatever that is, right? And we just want to provide all the tools, well, as many of them as possible, that would help a player achieve that, right? Is there anything else you want to add for this?
Yeah.
In that case, I want to add a little bit of a story time here. So we've finished all the skills already. We've gone through all the descriptions. I'm going to share a little bit of a story time about the playtest, right? And where we saw Assassinate really shine, right? I think it was on one of the, I think it was the boss fight. So we had this one player who went, he's a full assassin, he goes full Swiftedge. He think he has like one arcane bolt, so he's going full dagger and everything. He has like one random arcane bolt. He doesn't even have affinity, so his arcane bolt is not very good, right? It's kind of similar to this lady here. So this lady here is one of the pre-gen characters, right?
Mm.
She's a pre-gen character for the Viennan race, and she's a character who has Swiftedge and Arcane as well. So a little bit of affinity, a little bit of dex, right? Generally, most carvers use dex. Generally, right? So in the playtest, there were a lot of small creatures that are spawning every single round, right? So these creatures are spawning, and then you have like a bigger guy, right? You have like a mini boss monster, a big boss monster, and then you have all these small minions that are showing up, right? And it is beautiful, right? When you have these guys just a little bit too far for your typical AoE skills to kill them. So they're just, a bit more than 15 feet away, basically, right? 15 feet to 30 feet away from each other, right? And that's where you get Bloodseeker and Assassinate really come into play, right? So as a full Swiftedge character, he had, I think it was light armor. So he has a little bit more movement speed. He has 40 movement speed, 40 feet of movement speed, right? And that means that every Assassinate, if you crit, will take you 40 feet away. Up to 40 feet away. And every Bloodseeker takes you up to 80 feet away. Right? So now you see where this is going. Right? So you have all these little creatures, right? Which are not very strong. They all have like 10 HP maximum, below 10 HP, 100% below 10 HP. You will assassinate one guy, right? And he instantly dies. Right? And if you have all of your allies set up nicely around you, you're gonna get a great success. You're gonna assassinate him. And then you crit. And you go to the next one, and then you crit. And then you go to the next one, and then you crit. And the whole time this is free. Right? And then you're like, shit, I'm out of movement. I can't get to this guy. Hey, ally, bloody this guy. He bloodies him, flies across the entire arena, hits the guy, and then kills him. Right? And so that is when you're really going to like, whoa, okay, that's a fucking ninja. That's an assassin. Right? You are zipping across the battlefield. You are going for all the small targets, the back lines, these minions, right?
That random guy over there.
The random guy over there who you don't like his face, and you're like, hey, shoot him, right? This could be your.
I think the best part was, I think in the end, like they were winning quite strongly, right? And then the enemies was retreating, and he's to caught up to them.
Like, you just run after these guys, right? Because you could have like, because the enemies are going to be running with all their stamina, right? So let's just say they use like 2 stamina every turn. They run 60 feet around, which is a dash movement, right? And normally you will run at the same speed as them or slightly faster, but you wouldn't have the stamina to actually attack them. So in this case, you could have an ally shoot a single arrow, just bloody the target, just bloody that guy, and he would fly all the way across and just stab him.
It was easy because they were all like low health anyway.
Exactly, because they were already low health.
Yeah.
Right. No, some were low health, some were not.
Low, yeah.
Right. Some were just barely out of low health. Right. And it all culminated in them slaying the boss, and the way they slayed the boss is that the boss was below 10 HP. And he used the Beyond, right, which allows him to assassinate. So he will zap, kill this guy, kill that guy, and he's like, shit, this guy's almost dead. Right? Uses the Beyond, and he just finishes him off. Right? Generally, most monsters in AoE don't have that much HP because the numbers are pretty small. Right? So 10 HP is quite a big margin. Only caveat is how much armor do they have?
Right? So that will be one of the few points of concern for most players, which is you need to have some sources of like armor penetration.
Well, not every player.
Not
every player. Somebody in your party should be able to deal with armored targets, or you will probably struggle. There's a armor's pretty powerful. Right. Definitely have at least one guy who's like, hey, I got the big guy, all right. You don't have to worry. I got the big guy, right? Or everybody's gonna pelt like little like toothpicks at his plate, right? And so that's a little bit of a experience that we saw running playtests for the different masteries, right? And with that, we've gone through all of the Swiftedge Mastery.
Yes.
Do you want to add anything else before we close up for today?
I mean, I have mentioned this, which is like, this is actually my second favorite mastery. After archery, So I would enjoy seeing how people play like Swiftedge and like the story that they will have.
Yep.
Like similar to what we just shared lah. Yeah. In
Mm.
like the Discord and stuff like that lah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If you are a big fan of like the rogue archetype, the
Mm.
assassin archetype, the thief even, right? This is definitely it.
Mm.
If you are more of like, oh, I just want to go and slash someone, this is not it. Do not play the Swiftedge if you're going in just to slash people, right?
Play the blade.
Play the blade guy, play the sword guy, the X
Yeah.
guy, right? Okay. Just a little bit of logistical stuff. So all of the descriptions, all of our links. Let me just swap this. All of our descriptions, the links, our pre-launch page is live on Kickstarter. Description, below. Like, subscribe, follow us here, or follow us on a Facebook channel. So Facebook channel is where Facebook group. The Facebook group is where we update pretty much everything. Same for our community Discord and our X, right? The Instagram, we only post on stories for now. We will update more in the future, but we're trying to get the the mosaic thing to look nice. So that's that, right? And besides that, we will also be at Table Conquest if you are in Singapore, or if you follow Table Conquest for some reason overseas, right? So if you're in Singapore, we'll be at Table Conquest on
August 1st.
1st August, I believe.
First week of August. That's what I remember.
1st and 2nd August, right? So if you are there, you can go there and you can try out the game. We'll demo a very quick one-shot live. You can take a look at the different components.
We will have
and
more
cards.
information when we get more information. So I think
Right.
now there isn't a floor plan. We just have our booth number.
That's right.
Yeah.
I just know what the number is. I don't know,
I don't know where I don't know
sitting.
where is it. Yeah.
Yeah. But
So
yeah,
I think further down the line when we get more information, we will share with you guys lah. Yeah.
yep, we'll share in all the links I just stated below. Right.
Mm.
And with that, this has been the 12th episode of Tiny Table Talk. I'm John.
I'm Tayang.
We're signing off.